a multi-hangout event. And as expected, we're having all sorts of glitches, but we're entrepreneurs, so we're just going to deal with it the best we can. Before we really start, there's a few things I want to talk about. I want to tell you a little bit about the agenda. What we're going to do is be kind of semi-informal here. We're all just here to learn. But I want to tell you a little bit about the agenda, how we got to this place, and a little bit about what we're doing. Our agenda, if this works today, is really pretty simple. We're going to have a very, very brief public meeting, which hopefully you people can see now. It does say we're broadcasting here. About 15 minutes. So from now until 15 minutes after the hour, we're going to be just going over a few things about Hangouts and the like. A little bit about how this course started, or how we got this idea. And then at 20 minutes after the hour, those of you who want to will be able to start your own Hangout events. And we're going to be here throughout. And we're going to be kind of doing what we can to monitor them, to look at what you're doing. If you don't have any participants, hang tight with it. We're going to try to get them for you. Again, this is an experiment for all of us. But let me just talk briefly before I introduce the team and a little bit about what we're doing. This was part of a course in entrepreneurial technology, an online course that some of us are taking from Stanford University. And as part of that, we're supposed to experiment with different kinds of business models and different kinds of business approaches. Well, we started looking at the Startup Weekend organization. One of our team members, I'll introduce in a minute, Sander, noticed the Startup Weekend, which is basically, it's a pretty cool organization. It's an organization where they get people, startup companies and entrepreneurs in one physical location over a weekend, and they just work their asses off. And they actually launch little companies. But as part of this course, we were supposed to look at different business models. Sander noticed that they don't have any kind of community platform. So we started looking at that, and I kind of think it's a little bit of a glaring omission, but that's neither here nor there. And then during the course of our brainstorming, we also noticed that, or we also came up with the idea of, what about a virtual startup weekend? I mean, right now everybody has to be in one city, in one place, and that's good. They eat together, they get to know each other. But we've got such awesome technology here with this new Hangouts that we just thought it would be cool and maybe possible to do something akin to Startup Weekend. Not the exact same thing, but something akin to Startup Weekend in an online event. That's what this is. We're just testing it. This would be the very, very early stages of that, where people just kind of get to know each other. So our objective in what we're doing here today is really twofold. One, we have an objective for the course. We kind of experiment with this multi-hangout thing. What problems we have, what glitches we have, and what works, of course. But then a bigger objective, and maybe a more important one, is we all just want to get to know each other better. And that's a way we will do this. So please put up with any glitches we have. We're learning here. I think about maybe almost 20 of you have volunteered to start Hangouts. About 150 people have expressed interest. That's enough. Even if half of those, or even if 1/3 of those are around, that's not too bad. So I'm probably talking too much because we're going to have like a 15-minute. I want to introduce the team here and have everybody talk a little bit. I think I will start with John Seacrest. He is our course advisor, and he will talk a little bit about team formation and a little bit about Startup Weekend and whatever else he wants to talk about. So John, why don't you take the floor for a minute?
You hear me now?
I can hear you fine.
Great. So I'm a Startup Weekend facilitator. What that means is that I'm able to go to different cities around the world and help facilitate the process of Startup Weekend. And in the process of doing a Startup Weekend, we try to get people to compress into that weekend the process of idea exploration, brainstorming, customer development, team formation, and then some kind of prototype all the way from idea to revenue over that 54-hour period. And more often than not, we succeed in one or two of the teams in the room actually doing that. Usually start with 100 or so people in the room and make that go. We've had this ongoing conversation for the last couple of years of what does it look like to bring into that process people who are not in the room. And so I've wondered, now that we're up to 500 events a year, we're running something like 10 to 15 events on any given weekend. And so what would it look like for a team to exist across the startup weekends itself, or even just a startup weekend without any physical presence at all? So we've been having those conversations. And in the process, we noticed there are specific things that we do during startup weekends that we're trying to figure out how you would do that online. Specifically, how do you do group formation? How do you find a bunch of people who can come together and in some level of suspended disbelief or trust form a team that can really put the shoulder to the project and make something come out of it. And there's a certain amount of skills that we expect people to have to make that go, and we sense that as we visit people in person. And so what's the mechanism by which we would do that kind of thing if we were doing it through some kind of online tool? I'm happy to tell people more about what Startup Weekend is. I'm going to run off here because there's a Lean Startup Machine today that I'm working with. They do a similar thing around customer development in a weekend. All of those kinds of things provide an opportunity for people to get very clear about what the problem is, to move off the plate a bunch of discussions that interfere with the process of getting something done because there's such a tight deadline. That kind of deadline and structure with some kind of output at the end really is an important part of that process, as is the celebration at the end as a group. And so if you find a way to get a large group of people to celebrate the success and achievement of the weekend or of the event, that's also a key part of this process.
Outstanding. I maybe didn't do a real good job of introducing John. He was actually on the board of directors for Startup Weekend. He's a global organizer, and kind of by coincidence, he was thinking about some of the same things that we thought about what can we do virtually. So I want to move on now, and I hope John will stay with us for, if he can, for a minute. He's also, you know, a coordinator of Angel Networks in Seattle. He's done all sorts of great things. But I want to move on and introduce a few of our teams. I think I'll go with Asan, and if his connection, he's in Islamabad, Pakistan, and if the connection is not real great, let's put up with it. I think he's coming to us by voice only, but he's been a really great team member, and it's kind of demonstrated to us how we can work across cultures with this technology. So Asan, he's an electrical engineer, by the way. We got a lot of smart dudes on this team of mine. He's an electrical engineer. He works for China Mobile. So, Hassan, why don't you say hello if your connection's working okay, and say a few words about yourself.
Okay, hello everybody. It's nice to see everyone around. And we've started this first kind of a multi-hangout event. And we would like to share our ideas and share our thoughts with each other, and maybe find our potential team members. I am an electrical engineer from Pakistan, and I hope you guys can hear me.
We can hear you fine, and I just want to say again, you've been an awesome team member, always looking out for ways to help, so we really, really appreciate it. Let me move on to Sander, I hope I don't murder your last name, Johansson? Sander Johansson. He's in Oslo, Norway. Sander, I know you're a programmer. I don't know enough about your background to give you a proper introduction. So we'll talk about your application you're developing in a minute, but for now, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a Startup Weekend organizer in Oslo. That way I got to know John's request. And I'm also working as a software engineer at Mammoth, a software company, making accounting software. I'm really excited about this demo I have. about multi-hangouts. We have coded for 4 days, so it's not a big thing, but it at least works. Something worked. So I'll try to share my screen.
Thanks. Thanks, Sander, and you've been awesome too. And we'll talk a little bit about. We were working on an application to launch Hangouts. We'll talk about that in a minute. Jack, I got a message from Jack saying he wants to drop out. Please do not do that, Jack. We'll make room for other people in other ways. I want to introduce Jack. Jack Crawford. I hope you have not left us. Are you still here, Jack?
I'm right here.
Okay. Jack Crawford, I think most of you already know. He is an executive at is it Amylin Pharmaceuticals? I might have that name wrong.
Well, I work for a company. I'd rather not talk about it on the live hangout. Really
redact that. Forget it. Everybody erase that from your memory. He is also he has started his own startup company successfully, and. So, Jack, why don't you say a few words about yourself, and I want to come back to you to give some tips on launching Hangouts, but for now, just give yourself an introduction.
Okay, well, I'll just keep it brief. And you're still screen sharing, Rob.
Oh, I am? Okay. Let me turn that off. Thank you for showing me that.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been on Google Plus probably less than the whole year. The people that have been here since the very beginning. I think I joined like in August or whatever. But, you know, the platform's great and everything, but what's been happening with this Stanford course is another very amazing thing. And the part of it that I find really tremendous is that there are tens of thousands of participants in this course, and somehow the Stanford team is able to manage and gather all the activity from all of those. I believe that this team is probably one of the most committed teams. We've got to be, Rob, like in the top 100 at least, as far as those that are delivering on what's expected in the course. But if you go onto the course portal, if you're a student, you can see the business plans that all of the different teams have, and teams are about our sizes, 5 to 7 people each, have developed. We've had course assignments and turned them in, but we're also seeing is that real companies are forming. And the venture community up in Sand Hill Road, I'm sure, is paying close attention. This group of people has worked with lots of companies that have spun out of Stanford. So I'm pretty excited about what Rob has put together here and led us to do. So this venture actually could be very, not just an experiment to watch, but something to learn from for other startups. So I thank you all for joining us today, and those who are going to watch on the air, see what we're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. And just to do a little plug about what we're doing, because I think we are doing something pretty cool. We didn't get around to a lot of things we wanted to do for this particular event, but as I mentioned, Sandra came up with the idea of a community portal for Startup Weekend, and I already had one I had built for American startup companies. It was called American Startups. A lot of you people, a lot of you people attending here have already joined that, mostly as a favor to me. Well, I retooled that or repurposed that to a site called World Startups, world-startups.com. It's already better than most of the community portals for startup companies out there. It has not formally launched yet. You're welcome to register at your convenience. But I think we will launch it before the end of this course, which is just a few weeks off. So that's something pretty cool we're doing too. We're going to move on a little bit. We did not get our whole team here. That's kind of too bad, you know. I mean, too bad for them. It's just, you know, I'm kind of glad that people showed up here. We've got a lot of cool people. So we are already at 9:15, and I've yacked a lot. I'm going to want to go back to Jack in just a minute and talk a little bit about launching Hangouts, because in 5 minutes or so, we're going to want to launch Hangouts. And one of our team members, Garrett, who I was hoping would be our real-time monitor for us, he either can't get in or he didn't show up. We'll get him in a little bit here. Let's not worry about that now. But we're going to want to maybe have a volunteer from the audience to help us monitor who is starting Hangouts. And I guess for now we're going to have to do that either by people telling us in the chat window, people posting on the event notification, or looking at that box for you know, the ongoing Hangouts. Now, let me just say real quick, there's a couple ways you can start Hangouts. I published on my profile, you can see a list of a circle of 150 people who've agreed to participate in this. You can add that circle and just invite them, or you can do it to extended circles. That's not a bad way to do it, or you can do it public, whatever you want. Somebody's trying to talk. Go ahead.
Isn't it better to try a demo about to actually launch Hangouts within my website, the demo I have?
All right, let's do that for good. I want to talk just a little bit. We'll get to that in less than 5 minutes, Sander, or maybe yeah, less than 5 minutes. Let me just say a few more things. There's two kinds of Hangouts. You can either have a presentation or a meet and greet. So if somebody's giving a presentation, you know, be respectful and just wait a little bit. If it's a meet and greet, kind of say hello. I don't know if we really even have a way to do that. I can share some documents in a bit that show the Hangouts I think we're having, or the people have said they would be having. And also, just an informal thing, I don't think you necessarily need to say goodbye. That can be a little bit disruptive. So if you're going around to different Hangouts, hopefully some will start. You know, just if you're not the last person in the room, you don't need to say goodbye. Sander, go ahead, but keep it quick, okay? Show us what you're doing, and maybe some people can.
So the thing is that if people go to an URL I'm posting on the chat, like this URL, hangoutalike.com/demo, then you will be able to create an Hangout.
Does it work?
Yeah, I hope this works.
We hope it works, okay?
So if someone has a second PC around, because if you join this Hangout, then you will fall out of this Hangout. You can actually write in a topic there. I can share the screen to show you.
Okay, well let's try it. You know, let's try it when they start. We're already. Let's see.
So I can write a topic
but
here.
go ahead, Sander.
I can write a topic here, like lean startup, discussion.
Hello, everybody.
And I can push Hangout, and this Hangout will be added to this list, so other people can join it afterwards.
Okay. Okay, well, let's try it. I mean, this is a learning thing for all of us.
Asa and I are going to drop off so that we can make room for 2 more people here and to go start other Hangouts. I'm going to join Kathy's Hangout once she starts it.
Okay. Again, you guys can, this is kind of a mix and match. I was going to have Jack give a little bit of introduction on how to do Hangouts, but we'll pass on that. He's going to jump out. You guys can jump out, go visit other Hangouts, and come back in. Again, you know, we're obviously not as organized as we kind of hope to be, but we're learning here. The people who come after us, other people have had this idea. I know, I'm going to murder this name, Yafid Kohan, I think. She was going to start one. She mentioned that some of her business associates were talking about this. So yeah, by all means now.
I posted, if you follow on the event page, you'll see that I posted the YouTube to watch this. So I'm going to go watch you guys from there and let other people join.
Okay. Everybody who's agreed to join Hangouts, now is the time. We're actually running 5 minutes late. I wanted to give you a 5-minute break, but go ahead and start your Hangouts now. You can drop out and go visit some. You can come back here. But this event is now live. The Chautauqua is now officially started. We can stay here and chat, too. I'd like to talk to Debbie, David, I'm hoping you're going to give one on crowdfunding. David Graham, am I pronouncing your last name right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I didn't mention in our format because we're so disorganized here, but we're actually thinking of doing 2 sessions. One that started right now, or started a minute ago, and then one that will start on the hour of 20 minutes each. The ones that are starting now, I don't want you to necessarily break off to come back here. So you're going to start one on crowdfunding at some point, David?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You want to do it now, or do you want to do it?
I can do it now.
It's fine, or you can chat a little bit. You want to? Why don't you give us an introduction and then go see?
Correct.
Give us an introduction.
Correct. I'm David Karam, and I live in Southern California. Been in business 20 years, and my theoretical education is device physics. However, I've been in a small business for the last 20 years. About 8 years ago, we started working with Google very closely, and we are completely Googleized to the point that all our so-called divisions work based on Google. About 2 years ago, I met a professor in Stanford University, and we decided to collaborate on crowdsourcing. And crowdsourcing basically is the way that one bypasses the internet and start collaborating with people and solving problems. And later on, we were approached by a couple of local universities in Orange County, California, specifically Fullerton University, asking us to help them in crowdfunding, because crowdfunding is a subset of crowdsourcing. I just shared with you guys 2 sites. One's called crowdfundingplanning.com. The other one is a crowdfundingconferenceseminar.com. We are conducting a series of seminars in Southern California to educate entrepreneurs, SMBs, and also the startups, because crowdfunding, one needs to get ready and needs time 3 to 6 months in order to have a success. It's not saying that having a goal without the plan is just a wish. Therefore, we have been kind of lucky. We have a series of crowdfunding entrepreneur portal builder in our area that actually attending these conferences and they're educating. And also we have SBDC and SCORE helping us on educating the Southern California small businessmen and entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's awesome! I would love to go that. I would love to go that. Hey, so are you going to start a hangout now, or you would want to stay here for a bit?
Okay, I'm going to click on what was sent, and I'm going to start the hangout.
Yeah, we might as well try Sanders' applications. Again, we're all here to learn. I'm wondering if I can recruit maybe Debbie. We need a monitor. Have any hangouts started yet? I'm getting so many chat messages of people asking me different things. Let's see, Sandra just sent me one.
If you can go to the URL of hangoutalike.com/demo and start.
Okay, would you post that link? Oh, okay, you did post it. No, would you post that, Sandra? Oh, you did. You did. I see. Okay. So go to that. Have any started yet?
So you need to post that in the event somewhere.
Now, we might have to look 2 places. We might have to look, maybe Debbie would be willing to help us, look on the public announcement page for Hangouts. Jack gave me a link, too.
Looking everywhere. I can't find a thing.
You're looking everywhere and you can't find them?
Yeah. Even my Hangout canopy will not work for whatever reason. It's bouncing like crazy. I can see that there are 15 Hangouts active, but I cannot see any more about them.
Okay, and my... It just says they're active. It doesn't say anything more about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't even tell who did them. Normally, I can see all kinds of things about Hangouts, but all I can see right now.
Let me go real quickly to the home page for Google. And now I'm exploding with and somebody should be monitoring the chats on the again, our monitor is AWOL. Garrett, I was hoping to get his help. So we're just getting people announcing they're coming. Teresa Delgado was going to start one. And she is, I think she was doing one on the sales process. It sounded really interesting. So I hope people are finding these.
Rob,
go ahead, Sander.
can you do a post to the circle you have where everybody was going to start and hang out?
Oh, could you do that? I mean, I don't want to stop from talking and post.
Yeah, okay.
Even our co-moderator Jack dropped out on me, which is I don't want to stop from talking and post. Yeah, okay. Even our co-moderator Jack dropped out on me.
I don't think I have the
Okay, Luis has got one going.
Alicia, what's the last name, Debbie?
Luis Algarza.
Okay. Luis Algarza. Do you have a way of posting
Galarza. Galarza. Luis Galarza.
Luis Galarza has one going. That's great. Paul Clayton just posted a link here. Let me see what it is. Oh, he posted Sanders' link. Thanks, Paul.
Watching live at the same time.
Okay.
Jack
this is a little bit more of a mess than we expect. Oh, we do have Jack started one. Asan. Yeah, so we're started. So you can launch them from here. I didn't think this was going to be ready. So Jack has started one. Sander, will it show us the number? It doesn't. Does that number of participants work? Because I'm seeing 0 on all.
That doesn't work. Still very early, so.
Okay, so it's just a place to launch Hangouts now.
So if you see one click, then it means 2 persons.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and hear from some of the audience. And if there's a way, Debbie and Sander, to keep monitoring, finding out who's launching Hangouts. If somebody could look at the chat for the Hangout announcement itself and see if anybody's saying thing. My board is exploding here, and I can only do so many. But let's hear from some of the people in the room here. And Debbie, I'm going to table you for a while because I'm coming at you for help.
No problem.
Lance Hubbard, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're up to?
Hey, Rob. First of all, do you know about the app that's for Hangouts that allows you to get all the comments? It's called Comment Tracker. It's by Gerwin Sturm. And it allows you to see the comments coming from YouTube and the comments coming from your G+ page where it's live embedded, and it'll bring them into the Hangout for you to look at.
No, but that would have been a really nice thing to know about before we started this. Could you post the link in the chat window for us? Because that sounds really interesting.
I'll do that. So I came in because I wanted to know whether you wanted me to start up a Hangout about social media's role in politics now or later. I'm sort of setting up the event, and I just wanted to check when you wanted it to add.
Let me see who's active here. Debbie is weighing in for us. Louis Galarza has a Hangout going. Jack Crawford has one. Bess McCarthy really should. She's got a good one. She is doing one on the psychology of MLM, of multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing is not what it used to be. And I've been to one of her Hangouts. They're very good. So Bess McCarthy has one. I hope people are getting participants from this. We're trying. We don't have a way, Debbie, we don't have a way to post links, right?
It doesn't come out on YouTube.
No, but the links to the actual Hangouts, we don't. You can either launch them, but we can't do a link, right?
I'm not able to do the link properly. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Okay.
If I can figure it out, how I will.
I appreciate your help on this. I really do. Let's go to another audience or Garrett. Garrett, about time you showed up. Garrett's one of our team members, and Garrett, we're going to put you to work right away. What I thought we were going to do here was, and maybe we still could, either Debbie or Garrett, it's fine, is actually bring up the person's, when we know a Hangout has gone live, bring up the person's profile, do a screen share, and then we can talk about them a little bit. So, for example, Beth started one. Domingo Rogers has contacted me a number of times. I believe he's in our Stanford class. So, so if that's another way to approach this. And Lawrence Hubbard, welcome. Lawrence wrote me such a nice letter, a note this morning. And he's given us a link to Hangout apps. I don't know what that is. I'll look at it right now.
It aggregates a bunch of different Hangout apps.
Oh, cool.
You know, there's developers making Hangout apps like crazy. It's going to be huge, eh?
Yeah. But we're trying to show the ones that have launched from here, and the software that we thought we'd have working sort of works, but people aren't necessarily launching them from that. But Lawrence, why don't you give us a second? Why don't you just take a second here?
Before you get started, I just want to tell you what's been going on outside the Hangout, and I'll
get
back off again. So Hangouts are starting. If you go to the Hangouts tab on the left on your Google+, you'll see all these Hangouts listed there, and you'll also see the on-air Hangout for this one, which you can watch on YouTube, which is what I've been doing, listening to you guys. And also, if you go to the application that Sanders created, you'll see the Hangouts that have been created from the app. And you can click to hang out on any one of those. So Kathy Brown has one open right now, I believe. I'll send you guys the link for it just to put it in the chat here. I might be wrong, but I'm going to go join that one after I leave this one. So there you go.
Don't leave just yet. But no, I'm delighted you came back. That's the whole idea. That we can walk around and join.
I've been posting comments and giving like moderation of what's going on here and screenshots and such on the Chautauqua event page. So it's important.
Okay.
If you want to watch what's going on, go look at that page while you're in this Hangout. You can see what I'm doing over there.
Oh, okay. Amid Yosef has started one. Oh my God! Don't miss this one. I mean, I know you have to go to a bunch of them, but Amid is he is a force of nature. He started a hangout called "How to Become a Company Hero" by doing social media right. I'll try to introduce him a little bit. I went to his very first hangout. How do I give a link? Somebody find that and do a screen share. Maybe I'll do it. Can I do that?
Hey, Jack. Nice to finally meet you.
Likewise, Lawrence. How are you?
Great, great.
I'm going to do a screen share real quick here.
It's Canada Day weekend here, and
Happy Canada Day.
Thank you. The town is doubled in size suddenly with tourists. We have a big waterfront festival going on right now.
Outstanding.
Fireworks. They put a midway out on the pier with rides. It's very nice.
What city are you in? Vancouver? Where are you?
Cobourg is an hour east of Toronto.
Okay.
Well, happy Canada Day. And thank you for being a calming influence. I'm a little bit hyped out here because everything is such a mess. I wanted to bring up Amid Yosef's...
I'm going to sign up, guys. See, I'll be watching from the other side.
Okay, come back. Come back.
He brings up a great point.
He's got a great hangout. I mean, consider joining him. He's a Syrian American. The old story, shows up in America with $1 in his pocket and goes on and starts 20 companies. So anything we can learn from him would be great. And he's gonna be starting too. He's doing a more of a presentation type. But by all means, meet him. Anybody else want to weigh in? I'm talking too much and not listening enough. Anybody would just want to say anything right now? Let me open up the floor a bit.
I think Jack brought up a good point about how the Hangout Chautauqua event page makes a great sort of central coordination point for all the different Hangouts. And that we should make sure to load that page up with all...
So people should put that on comments, are you saying? Or,
yeah. Like Kathy
okay, that's a good point, Lawrence.
Kathy linked to her Hangout on there. So it makes a great central hub to coordinate the different Hangouts.
Okay. Debbie, I immediately put you to work. I was kind of rude. I didn't even talk to you. I just grabbed you and put you to work. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you're an American expatriate living in Sweden.
I live in
you work as a
Sweden now.
translator, but go ahead.
We started the company 13 years ago in the USA. I got a little bit lucky. My grandfather passed, and he left me enough money that allowed us to pay the rent for 6 months so that we could get started on a business. And then when we moved over to Sweden, the business has changed in 13 years. We started out doing websites and just helping companies decide what software what computer systems they needed. But now we do subtitling and translation. We do a lot of translation of different types, things for television and movies. We do Swedish to English and English to Swedish. We have literary translation. We do script translations. We do menu translations.
Did you do the girl with the dragon tattoo?
No, that's not me.
That's Swedish, though, right?
That wasn't Swedish, yes.
I like the Swedish version better. But Marty, welcome. Marty Mankins. He's one of the guys I interact with here. Can you hear us, Marty?
Yes.
Okay, how you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself. I just only know you from little pithy, snarky comments we make back and forth to each other.
I should be out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, not see you.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll have to figure out my camera here. So let's see.
Well,
Don't worry, you can talk. Anybody can talk. Go ahead. I'm starting to loosen up because a few of these are happening, and whatever happens is happening. So I'm starting to be a little bit more of myself now. Asan, but let me just mention Asan. I just got a chat from Asan Rizva, the guy in Islamabad I mentioned, who's been such a valuable team member. He wants to. He's going to be coordinating the feedback from this, which might not be positive, but we're going to get it to him. But he's given me a link through chat. And I can't post it now. I will post that later. But just be aware there's going to be a feedback link on this.
Hey, Rob, if you've got a second, I do have something I would like to say.
Go for it.
David Coram mentioned that he works with the SCORE group there in California. The SCORE people, they work with Small Business Administration, and those retired executives are a good source of information if you're getting started for the very first time. Take advantage of all of the free opportunities you can get. The retired executives come up with things that most people, when they want to start a business, they don't think about that little detail. I had an opportunity to sit down with a SCORE executive 20 years ago, and some of the things that he told me then still stick with me today. So I'm really glad to hear that's still active.
I am too. I thought that program had went away. I wasn't really aware that it was still there. But I did pick up on him saying that as well. So that is pretty cool. And maybe that's something I really should check out, because that does. I've heard people say that's invaluable. So that's
it really
that's certainly something I'm working out. Do we have any other reports on new Hangouts? I should check the. Did our coordinator Garrett run off again? Garrett, you have Garrett? I never introduced you.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm fiddling around.
Well, let me just do a brief introduction. Garrett is on our team. They've been working on software for launching these Hangouts, and he's been working with Sander on that. He is a software developer in New Orleans, Katrina survivor, and currently has some contracts with the New Orleans Fire Department. So welcome, Garrett. I'm going to put you to work in a minute, but why don't you say hello to everybody here?
Hey, how are y'all? Am I coming through?
Yeah, you come through fine. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't have much to say. I'm just listening in on the conversation, seeing what's going on. As you mentioned, we've been working on...
That's it? I mean, you might have something to say.
Well, as Rob mentioned, Sander and I have been working on the Hangout app, which is barely in demo phase, but considering we got it done in 3 days, if that, pretty good. And I'm actually new to Google Plus completely as of about a week and a half ago. I took a hiatus from social networking for the last 3 years. So that's kind of who I am.
And now you've more or less gone crazy. And as I understand it, you did successfully do a startup, or were part of one once. Is that right?
Yeah, it was called Video. We got a good round of funding. It still exists. It's kind of looking for a second round of funding here in New Orleans. There's a good couple of venture capital firms here in New Orleans that have peaked up downtown, and they're actually mostly from California. This one's called Video.com, and the premise was that if y'all know about like the CNN iReport, where people can record news on their phone and it goes to CNN, and people are recording news themselves these days. Well, instead of people just giving their content for free, they can upload it to video, and it goes on auction to any news outlet to buy that I guess end-user captured news. And you can actually check it out.
Outstanding. We're getting reports of new Hangouts starting, and they're good ones. Teresa Delgado, and look in the chat window for these, or if you're listening. I hope you can. People listening see the chat window? I look at the comments. Teresa Delgado, she is doing one on the sales process. Should be really good. Sherry Worrell is doing one for new business owners, also really good. And I'm very impressed with Sherry. She's never done a Hangout before, and that's really exactly what I wanted to do with this.
On air, too.
We're just kind of experimenting and trying to make things work here. Garrett, we need to get you monitoring and maybe posting some of these things on comments that Debbie, Debbie's doing research for us and finding out the Hangouts that have gone live. Maybe posting some of these things on comments on the event page. Again, this is the first time anybody's tried a multi-hangout event. I will follow in our footsteps. We'll be able to learn from all the things we did wrong and do a lot better job, but somebody had to start. Garrett, what did you post? Video? What is that? Was that your startup you posted, Garrett?
Yeah, that's the one I was...
That's yours? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go look at the, why don't you guys talk for a bit and I'll stop hogging the floor. I'm going to go look at the comments on the event page to see what's going on there. And keep talking about the Hangouts that are starting. I'm going to go try to get an update.
Really quick, Rob, I don't have the event on, I don't think I was invited to it.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we'll table that one for now. I mentioned Emilio Saf has one going. Awesome. Great guy. And you want to go to all of these simultaneously. I assume most of these people are doing Hangouts on air. They're giving presentations. I just want to look at our. Actually, you guys talk. I'm hogging the floor and I'm looking at my screen at the same time. So go ahead and take the floor, someone.
If there's going to be a hangout like you're proposing, a talk about social media's role in politics, it's a great topic, and I just think that it needs more build up, more promo, more time for people to book it into their calendars. I could start it up right now and get a few people talking. But,
yeah, go for it. You know who I was hoping was going to do that, and I probably have this name wrong also, but Jason Huerta Daniels.
Yeah.
He's interested, so maybe invite him. And he's left of center, but I do like intelligent political conversations, including with conservatives. People think I'm some kind of flaming liberal. I'm not. But I think intelligent political discussions and the role of social media, that would be a really interesting one. So by all means. Start that if you want now or on the hour, 15 minutes or whatever you want, really. Go ahead, someone else talk.
I'm just wondering if there's enough people to watch. It's like there's more people who want to do startup Hangouts than there are people to occupy the Hangouts.
Well, that was something I was a little bit worried about. And that very well may be the case. We had to balance this, and again, we've never done it before, but we had to balance the situation. I have no idea why my UPS alarm is going off. So if I drop off the air, somebody step up the plate and take over for me. But we had to balance between, if everybody starts a Hangout, then we don't have an audience for them. And if we have all audience and nobody has a Hangout, then we have that problem too. Again, this is all an experiment. Sorry about that. I'm going to mute my own microphone until that ends. Just a second.
Oh. Well, Garrett dropped out, and I wanted to talk more about video, because that's a sort of a game changer kind of idea, if it can work. But it's something that I wonder about the whole principle of it, and it'd be good to talk about. Selling your videos of things will make people sort of create havoc just so they can film it and sell it to a news agency. And that's sort of a bad byproduct.
Well, the whole topic of content management is a really crucial one, and it's one that I think is overlooked a lot. I started a circle, and you know how difficult doing alerts are in Google+. You know, some people just freak out if they get, you know, some alert they don't like. So I started a circle where I said, look, everybody, this is for content managers. You will get alerts from this. And everybody said yes. That's a lot of work to do that. With 50 people in it, it's private. I don't post to it very often, but we were having those conversations, and especially about paid content. I think people are going to get real sick of doing things free forever. And, you know, I know they've been talking about this ever since the internet started. Things are still free. People have talked about low-cost things. But in content, you know, I think we're all going to get sick of being unpaid content creators. So I don't know if I took you off topic there, but that's sure a good point.
Well, freemium is what's turned out to be the most successful way to go in the app business, and that is to make it free to buy the app, and then to buy, once you're in there, you're buying Smurf berries or levels or whatever.
In-app purchases.
Yeah, and they are the biggest profiting apps. And if you look at that just as an analogy to all of business, in that if you make the access to it free, then you can worry about making some money after that.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point. And I think the ebook market is about to explode, and I think that's going to be where a lot of free content comes in. I've noticed nobody really writes long-form stuff on Google+. They did when it started, but now it's getting to be a little more picture-oriented. And if you follow my posts, you know I post joke pictures all the time. But I think maybe it gets buried in the stream so fast. So I think we're going to start seeing kind of, you know, with ebooks, not as long as books, but just intelligent reports. I've noticed a lot of people on Google Plus doing that. Lance, have we heard from you? You want to say anything?
I just wanted to say good morning and thanks for hosting this. Very interesting, and good morning from Houston.
Well, hi. Were you the one that was going to do the energy hangout?
No, but I could. I've dabbled in solar power. I had a small company for a while that did solar and wind energy, and I'm really interested in that. It's in fact, I'm running on solar power right here in the workshop right now.
Well, Houston is absolutely the energy capital of the U.S. anyway. I'm going to dig up my original Google Docs because we had a guy. Oh, I'm getting those people's computers are crashing. They want me to know about. Wait, let me just well, let me share this one because this was our original Hangout hosts. I want to show you some names, and I got a screen share. 1 second. So this was going to be another way we could have managed this if we had our act together a little bit. You can actually make a Google Doc completely public. But these were the people who said they were going to start Hangouts, and maybe they still will. And actually, I'll share this link. Let me put that in the chat window. Because that'll be another way to find out who's doing what here. Bess McCarthy, we already talked about. She's a personal growth coach, takes a psychological approach, kind of on multi-level marketing. I believe she has a Hangout going on now. Elaine Lindsay was going to do one on social media marketing. I hope she's out there doing one. Michael Newton.
That's Elaine Lindsay. Elaine Lindsay from Ottawa. From Ottawa, Canada, Elaine Lindsay, the social media specialist.
Yeah. Oh, you want to go see what she's doing, or maybe in another window or something?
No. Just confirming who it was.
I think so. I think she's from Canada. Michael Nelson, I mentioned. He's a small business owner. Gregory Osaw is doing something kind of interesting. He's looking at the organization of the future, and I believe he has a Hangout going somewhere. And he's probably spawned 3 or 4, not necessarily companies here, but people have gotten involved in some very deep conversations on using some of these technologies for the organizations of the future. Mm-hmm. You know, people have gone on and they're forming little companies from what he's doing. So I hope he's doing well as well. His group is called Gilead. Heather Bond is a friend of mine. She's in the UK. She has not done one before. She said she was going to start one. But if you go to that link I posted, or I put in the chat, you'll be able to see their hangouts. So we'll be able to see what they're doing. Jeff Kochlich is a content management guy. He's going to have one. Great guy. Thomas Power is probably the most networked person in the world. He was talking about doing one maybe with Thomas Morphaw. I'm murdering that name.
Morphu.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thomas Morphu.
Morphu, I'm sorry. I don't know if they did or not. Lawrence Hubbard is here, so he's not doing that. Kenneth Ness, micro enterprise specialist. That sounds awesome. I don't know if that's going on. Yafit is, she really is the go-to person for Google in business. I hope she's doing one. I hope it's working for her. She, as I mentioned, she had this idea independently of us, and she might do it later, do something similar, and hopefully she'll learn from our mistakes here.
She has her own regular show.
She has her own regular show, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Teresa, oh, I'm murdering names. So this is embarrassing, and I'm on there. Teresa.
There we go.
Teresa Delgado, I've already mentioned. She's doing the sales process. David
Desotel.
I don't know what this is.
Desotel.
Oh, this is the energy guy. This is the whole reason I started this. Yeah, see if somebody check and see if because energy is hot now. He's actually an energy industry executive, and David Kokai, I'm murdering names again. He was here earlier. He's doing hopefully crowdfunding again, another hot application. So I'm going to turn off my screen share and see if how we're doing on finding out what's going on. I never did find the announcement.
Rob, you're
so I'm back.
Rob, you're going to have to do a night in the slammer for all the murdering of names.
Oh, I'm going to have 3 days of mess to clean up after this thing is over. Marty, you're on camera now. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, just I had to restart my computer to get the camera to work. It was on for a second and then it went off. So
looks good.
So I got it worked out here.
Okay. I had originally planned this to just be the hangout on air, and I thought we would then. I didn't know what was going to happen. I still don't know what's happening right now, but and then we would invite people. I'm glad this worked out the way it did. Actually, this is better because people are kind of coming and going. Debbie, any new reports on what's going on out there? Why don't you talk about a little bit?
I've got nothing new for you on this one. I keep refreshing the page looking for more hangouts. I think what we're dealing with is not enough people are aware of this happening yet.
Okay.
But I think we talked about this before. It's one thing to have that, coffee meet and greet, but we've got to do that more often to get more people aware of what's happening. And there needs to be more posting about it as well, and not just to the entrepreneur circle. I have been lax in not posting this to my public group, for instance. So I fall in the blame me crowd.
Oh no, not at all. You've been great, and you're right. I had a death in my own family, so but we were doing that. We were having not real often, but we were having small business coffee shops, and I think I did one small business happy hour. And then we were occasionally doing special topics like crowdfunding. We didn't get too far, but you're right. We have to go back to them. We definitely have to use the small business community just to make this happen to the extent we can. And I hope people are getting some participants out there. If there's more people starting than there are participants, that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It means people are trying things. But I got to tell you, I have, when you try to start one of these hangouts yourself, if you don't promote the crap out of it, there's a good chance you're just going to be sitting there alone, which I have a number of times. A friend of mine, Milena, and I'm forgetting her last name, she's doing a small business happy hour at 4 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. And she's doing a great job of promoting and getting the word out. But even those don't usually get 10 people. But a bigger point I'm kind of rambling and trying to get to here is there's a lot of us working alone or working in real small companies, And the more we figure out how to collectively do things, still, of course, work for our individual success, but things where we can collectively market and collectively do things together, just the better that is. So so that's kind of my 2 cents worth. Why don't you guys weigh in? I'm kind of ranting here. Why don't you guys just talk about whatever. Talk about baseball or whatever.
It's really the infancy of the Hangout platform. And really the amount of people who are regular Hangouters is still a pretty small community. And, but we know that it is the medium of the future. It's the huge advantage that Google has over Facebook or Microsoft. They can't really put together Hangouts the way Google can. Google's got the network and the backbone, and so they're gonna run with it. They're gonna run with Hangouts, and it's a whole dimension beyond text social media engagement like you see on Facebook. So
I really agree with that. I use the word dimension because it really does take your relationships to the next level. I think it's going to be a game changer. I think even the people who are starting Google now and just getting used to it, we're all early adopters, and I think we're going to be in a really good position. Jack Crawford, who's out, I think, visiting other Hangouts, he talks about the Google economy. We can see now they're bringing the pieces together. And when you talk about dimension, I mean, text just doesn't do it. I tried to run my, when I started, I tried to run my Stanford team off email lists and posting, and it was a disaster. I mean, people were just, one guy was saying rude things that just didn't work. And then I just transferred, look, we're going to start using these Hangouts. I'm going to do them every day. And things started turning around. And, it's just going to take things to a whole new level. Even when you go from text to talking to a person on the telephone, it changes things. I talked to a woman in Texas. Our politics could not have conceivably been more different. But now we're respectful to each other. And it makes a difference. When you know people as people, it just makes a big difference.
You're more likely to circle someone if you hung out with them rather than just exchange text on your site, on G+. Once you've seen their demeanor, their body language, their micro-expressions, you get a much better read on a person, and you're much more likely to circle them. Demeanor, their body language, their micro-expressions, you get a much better read on a person, and you're much more likely to circle them. Sander, are you watching on YouTube? Micro-expressions.
I have to welcome Amid Yosef right now. Amid, did we get anybody in your Hangout or not? Welcome Amid Yosef, Amid, I said Amid.
That's me.
Amid, did we get anybody in your Hangout or not?
I actually completed mine, but there's a...
I said Amid.
So, Amid, do you have your YouTube still open? We're getting the feedback.
I actually...
Yeah, a lot of feedback.
Whatever is causing this.
The length of the lag indicates that he's watching it on YouTube at the same time.
Oh, I'm going to actually shut down everything. 1 second. Hello?
Very nice to meet you, Amid.
Well, good to meet you. I guess I was the buffoon with the technology here.
The same thing happened to me when I came in the room.
But I am attempting to find you guys now. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of feedback.
Yeah, let me close this microphone that
Are you aware that you can mute your microphone too?
The lag indicates that he's watching it on YouTube at the same time.
No, I'm not. I'm with you guys.
Very nice to meet you, Amid.
Good to meet all of you. I'm sitting down with the same frustration you all have. Do I still have the feedback?
You do.
I'm going to shut down.
We don't necessarily know that it's him, do we?
Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay. Bess McCarthy, coach for multi-level marketing. I think I mentioned her. Debbie just posted that she's got a Hangout going. This is technically around the time where we talked about people starting the second session if they wanted to. I don't know if people will be doing that. And I had planned, the original plan, I don't know what happened, was for this public Hangout to last about 10 more minutes. And then I was actually going to go visit some, if any are still going at that time.
Like Barhop.
I'm sorry that Amid left. I'm sorry we had some technical problems. He was doing some really interesting things. He had he's using Google Hangout technology to actually launch kind of what he's calling TV networks. He had one that I thought was really cool, where it was he would actually arrange interviews for small companies, and he would interview them, or he'd have someone else interview them, and it would be a split screen, and you basically launch softball questions at people, and they would answer them. But it kind of gave small companies the ability to get on video. Not everybody's used to being on video. And then also to be interviewed. So, I mean, I just thought he was doing something interesting. Hamid, I was talking you up. Are you back now?
I'm back. I have 2 or 3 suggestions / challenges that we need to overcome. I apologize. My name is Hamid. I had a reasonably good hangout 2 days ago, and I recorded it, and you're welcome to check it on my wall, and it was well attended. But I couldn't go live with it at the time, which now, looking in retrospect, might have been why that hangout went well. First of all, my observation. I apologize. Is it okay if I hog the floor a bit, Rob?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My observation is, you're right. I've been watching yours for a little bit. I already did mine. I did the 20 minutes. And I chose, because of what happened Thursday, I chose to not wait for people to come in.
Did people come in or just talk by yourself?
No, I did myself. I presented 20 minutes that was very professionally recorded. My topic is how to become the company hero by doing social media right. It has been received very well.
Great title.
Both times. Great, thank you. I did the webinar for HR.com, and I'd love to have you all introduce yourselves, but I just wanted to tell you my little experience. I did the webinar for HR.com, which was almost an hour long, and I cut it down to 20 minutes, and I did the hangout on Thursday. Statistics. I did the same thing you all did here, but I didn't divide the audience. I mean, right now, if we have 2 audience times 28, there may be 68 people, 46 people that we could have had into one single viewing audience. I think we all ought to be promoting one single hangout and have them successive. What is everybody's thinking? There's no audience, Rob. And I turned out 60-some people for mine, and 96 wanted to get a copy of the webinar. And all I did, I sent out this invite. So
Okay, a couple things, because those are both good points. As I said in the introduction, this was an experiment for a class. When I went and it was basically we're trying to see if we can replicate some elements of Startup Weekend. When I went to Startup Weekend, there were a number of rooms open, and each of those rooms had different project teams in it. So that's a little bit what we were trying to do here. I did most of the marketing. I got 150 people to say they would participate. I was hoping about half of those actually would. And I was hoping we would have better real-time monitoring where we could, promote the ones that, not too many people were going to, and get people actually visiting different hangouts and coming back and forth. I don't know if that happened. It might have happened a little bit. But again, this was all for learning. So your point about, maybe we should all be marketing one big one is a good point. Debbie was saying earlier, we got to get back to having informal coffee meetings and happy hours. So no, that's a good point. And we're going to write up both what worked well here and what failed here. One of our team members.
Well, I have another observation because I did my 20 minutes and I went live and it's recorded on YouTube and you could go check it out. It's a good webinar. But then I came back and tried to start a brand new hangout, and I chose public, which means try to put it for everyone to see. And it would not work because it says you can't go on the air except your own follower base. So therefore, y'all are over there 2 minutes away from Google. Can somebody go talk to them and give us that next feature which the Dalai Lama has?
You don't want public being able to get into an on-air hangout because the public is, they'll come in, they'll have copyrighted music playing, or they'll be naked. I didn't
want them to come in. I wanted them to be able to see it.
Yeah, you don't want them to turn into a chat roulette, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why.
There have been reports of that, of lewd behavior, and I understand Google is taking it really seriously. They're going after people, when that happens, they're going after ISPs. They're sending their lawyers after the people, so that's good that they're taking that seriously. I went into one of, I think probably you all at least heard of Amanda Ban. As near as I can figure, she's probably in Hangouts 12 hours a day.
Amanda Blaine's in Toronto, just an hour away.
Yeah, she's a Canadian. I went into one of hers, and it was a public one, and it was just, and this was earlier, not recently, and it was just a mess. There were just idiots showing up. She was harried. Some guy, came in and they didn't see anything. There was suspicion of lewd behavior. She does not do public hangouts anymore. Okay. So a lot of the operational things we were looking at, the reason I shared the circle of people that agreed to participate was so we could kind of look at that. But we're learning here, so Hamid, excuse me, your point is well taken. Anyone else want to weigh in on that?
You just have to arrange your 10 people. You give them enough time, get the commitments, and you'll have a good group in there. But just to have it open to the public, it's like out of
Understood. And I wasn't, as a matter of fact, like I said, I did mine where I now understand. Never mind. I need more people in, but you're saying it would get out of control. Understood. I apologize.
It's probably a good idea if you can have a group of 10 to 15 that you can invite ahead of time to be a part of your Hangout on air, so that you can give your presentation and you can have people there ready to ask a few questions that go into the on-air section. Then you can still announce the on-air Hangout happening in public so that people can click on the on-air link. But you might want to prep a grouping of people to be in the Hangout. Even if it's only you and 3 people who are having a little roundtable discussion, and then you can post the actual Hangout can be posted public as being something you can watch rather than be part of.
Oh, no, that's a good thought, Debbie. I think you probably remember the one a couple months ago when Hangouts were early that I tried to do and you participated, where we got swamped by kids. Google didn't have that 18-year-old thing, and we had a bunch of children show up. And
we did. It was horrendous.
Yeah. And you were being nice. You were being so nice to them.
Hamid,
yes.
I understand that the wanting to be inclusive, and the way for that happens is that when something is on air, you keep track of the comments being put on YouTube and on your G+ page, and that's your way of involving the community by answering their questions.
So when you go on air, you are public?
On air is public.
Okay, then that addresses that. I have a different suggestion, Rob, which is structure. Okay, right now, if I was a student wanting to start a business, there's no track in here of where I can go to learn to design a business card.
Well, I think that, can I jump in and interrupt you? Because I think that's an awesome idea. And again, what we're trying to do, and this is going back to our Stanford class, this is the very early experiment where we say, well, could we have a bunch of people, our course advisor said, if this is something like startup speed dating, that would be good. Well, I just came up with that Chautauqua idea, and I thought, well, let's just kind of let people do what they want. But beyond this, what we do in the future, and maybe, that since we're experimenting, that Chautauqua was just a branding idea, we might just throw that out. But something, we knew we couldn't do a startup weekend for an entire weekend. Nobody would, a virtual one, nobody would keep the camera on for a weekend. But something like a 2-hour startup or maybe a 4-hour startup where there is structure, where, at this time, this guy is going to be meeting. So like maybe the weekend before or a week before, you have the teams meet up, you do the meeting and you talk and less formal. Then you have something structured, this maybe like 4 hours.
I have a suggestion.
People's attention span is too short for that.
Yeah, I have a suggestion, and the suggestion is a 20-minute pre-prepared webinar with the host sitting there, okay? Meaning the host is watching the question flow. He's not so busy trying to deliver the next plate. The webinar is something he does in a slow fashion. make sure the words are accurate. We don't have a lot of we're trying to teach people. But I have some basic questions. Are we allowed to use the word Stanford in advertising this?
No.
Well, why not? I mean,
you can promote it because it's free, eh?
You can say Google in advertising. I just...
No, if we can get Stanford behind it, even if they don't give us anything, this will have a huge weight.
Yeah. Well, you know, I had actually, this is a little personal issue. Early on, several weeks ago, I had written you, and I think you got busy or something, but I was going to actually have you join our team on Stanford because you've got more video experience than just about anybody here. And I was going to actually have you join our team on Stanford. Now it's too close to the end of the course. We can, of course, you know, work together in other ways, or maybe do the next course at Stanford. But you know, I mean, you were on your other venture. Was it TV show Now? I mean, you were even advising people you'd have totally white backgrounds.
Rob, what I was going to suggest is if we can get the college to back us, then we record these webinars. So let's say David does one. Am I saying it right? David Khurram?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, or Debbie does one, or Lance does one, or Lawrence does one, or Marty, or you, or me, or Sander, or anybody. And then that track is saved in posterity in something like a tvshowhow.com, not necessarily my platform, but you take them and you say, okay, to go to a startup phase, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You'd be amazed how many people don't know how to design a basic sign. They don't understand the concept until a stupid sign is up on their building that it has to be large enough to be seen from the street. Okay? And it sounds really simple to you, but I paid $3,000 to learn that little lesson. Okay? When I started my business. And so what do I do next? You know, I go get a rubber stamp with my name and address because I can't afford business cards. Fine. Those are the pros and those are the cons, and that's the track. So now I could study it at my own speed, not sitting at your hangout learning about going public when I don't know how to keep my toilet clean in my garage yet. So those are the thinking, is that it's got to be linear, not a cafeteria. My thought.
Okay. Well, we're going to, like I said, we're going to analyze for our course. We're going to analyze the data. It might be that we decide, you know, a multi-room hangout really doesn't work, and we should all be more swarming and and doing it, pardon me, more linearly, and all promoting each individual's hangouts. And that's good. I want to look at, you know, we want to look at that issue, but that might be, I don't want to draw the conclusion too soon, but that might end up being the conclusion we come to. Anybody else want to weigh in? Go ahead.
I have a suggestion. I do agree very much that one's got to be more organized, and I highly suggest that whoever that is the conference leader or event leader, he needs to prepare a video ahead of time and launch it. And if you guys have Google Apps, you can easily launch this thing on Google Apps Cloud and privately share it with the specific email addresses, or just basically launch it on YouTube. And once you're on YouTube, then you can share it on Google Hangout. Therefore, the first 5 to 10 minutes of any presentation is going to focus on a core message that one wants to have. Next thing is, I suggest that if people want to have more videos and they want to have more information, I just went in and in the chat area placed a link. We do a research on YouTube constantly. Actually, YouTube is the #1 search engine in the United States, not Google anymore. Google is owning YouTube anyway. And YouTube is so powerful. Therefore, we go there and we build our database based on videos, and we put those videos on a website to get our audience educated. Then my suggestion basically is organizing the presentation first with video, then with any type of tools that what you can use. That would be Google Presentation, And I highly, highly suggest you guys take a look at Google Docs, because if you learn how to work with Google Docs, it's almost like a wiki. You can add your content. People, they can leave comments. You can have editors and so on and so forth.
No, that's a good point. In Google Docs, the power of that is something that people ignore. I mentioned a little bit earlier, I have a content manager circle. And what I thought of kind of as a joke, well, let me back up a bit. Everybody who uses Google Plus should also take a look at Google Contacts.
It's a social media and employee can...
And you should be very aware of the difference between circles and Google Contact groups. In Google Contacts, you're allowed to have up to 10,000 contacts. Somebody mentioned earlier that I should have sent out an email. Maybe there's a lot of things I should have done. But for my Stanford team, I use a Google Contacts group. So that's just when you write an email out, you just send it to the group. Now, with Google Docs, what you can do is then you can give an entire group the ability to edit a doc. And I kind of half-jokingly thought on that content management circle I mentioned earlier, that's 50 people who said it's okay to send me alerts. I kind of half-jokingly said, this is a group now on Google Contacts, not on Google+. I could make them, give them a document, call it an ebook on content management, and we could collectively write a book. Now, maybe editorially that would be a mess, but it would be a fun experiment to try. So, I mean, that's just something I was thinking out loud. But you're right. I think we've barely scratched the surface on the power here.
I want to piggyback on David, but also we have a new visitor. You want to introduce yourself? I apologize. I came in. I don't. No. Jack.
Jack, Amit? Amit Jack.
Yeah, I think he came in a couple minutes ago. Okay, my name is Amit. I have a suggestion. I tested this and it works really well. Watch, okay? All I do, I don't know if I can share my screen. I can, okay? Watch this. This is what I did.
Webinar, how to become the company hero by doing social media right. I'm going to go through it very fast. It was prepared.
So, I don't know why we need to be anywhere but inside here. That little screen share button lets you see everything that's on my desk.
Right.
So if it can play in my browser, it's going to work fine for you.
Okay.
Did you just see the demo?
Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks nicely done. I'd like to watch that later. I mean, that's great. I'm going to watch your whole presentation later.
Right, but the point I was making, instead of worrying about where to store it, if you can store it on your local hard drive, you can put it in this Hangout. That's what I was demonstrating. Let me show you one more thing. Okay, you click on Screen Share, okay, and then it tells you, what do you want to share, which screen. You have multiple. If you have a software open right now. Thank you, Jack, for letting me in the Hangout, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Jack, why don't you weigh out? We've tried to monitor and talk about what's going on. We're already at the point where if people did start the second session, I don't know if people did or not. That's almost to where they'd be over now. Did you visit any Hangouts, Jack? Why don't you report in?
Hang on just a second, guys. I'm just doing something following up what Amit was suggesting. So what you've got is he showed you how you can just do a screen share. But, I mean, I think technically what I've been watching, I've been out on other Hangouts back and forth and posting on the event page. This is moving. There's no way to optimize this at the moment because things are changing. All the tools are moving. Everything is making a change. And so my feeling on this is that we ought to not worry about the technology and more about what the paradigm is. What is this about? It's about being able to do multiple Hangouts in a kind of a hierarchy where there could also be a pay model. Now, Google's working on a pay model where you could, people would subscribe to a particular Hangout and buy seats, but that's not currently supported. You have to do it outside of the technology, meaning you could have a training class that you have people sign up for and you just deliver it via the Hangout, or you could do it through other means. There was a person who had, I learned on this other Hangout called plus.hang.com, where you could basically go and pick the Hangout you wanted and then go via PayPal to pay for a seat. And then that had to get shut down because it violated the Google rules that they were trying to use, which makes sense.
Oh, they didn't allow that, Jack? No? You can't charge for Hangout?
The way that it was being done was inconsistent with the rule. Because Google's going to release something later, I'm sure, down the road where you could set up an on-air Hangout that you need to subscribe to join. Today, you can already restrict people, right? I can create a Hangout, and I invite only the people I want to join that Hangout, and then all I have to do on the side on my other website is set up a pay model for that. I just can't link the two electronically. So I'd have to add them to a circle, then I use that circle when I create the Hangout. So that I can the people that are my subscribers. It'd be no different if I were, I don't know, if I were a tutor and I have 5 students in the neighborhood say, okay, guys, we're all going to get on, we're going to have a Hangout, and I'm a tutor. But you know, their parents pay my fees. There's nothing going through Google at all about it, but I am generating revenue via the Hangout feature. So I think if you look also at where the apps are going, you know, Screen Share, the YouTube app, you see below me I have my name on the bottom. That's the Cheer On app. This is wide open.
Yeah, they're gonna get Google Checkout incorporated into Hangouts, and just for that kind of a thing, because right now, let's say you want to do Hangout Chef, you want to see a cooking class by one of these great chefs and be in that Hangout. You go over to hangoutchef.com and you pay your $15-25 to be in the Hangout. And that's the pay model right now, but it's just a matter of time till Google allows you to do that in the Hangout.
That will be nice. I mentioned earlier to someone who wanted to start one for social work, kind of a self-help group, that I had been, Mission Bay is right over here, and I had been bike riding around, and there's people that are involved in fitness who give classes out there, and most of them were charging $10 a class, which is not a huge amount of money. It is for me, maybe, but for most people that's not a huge amount of money. But then I saw some woman that was charging for a Pilates class. It was just outdoors, informal class. She was charging $5 for her class. And I thought, that is cool. You know, you can usually come up with $5 for a class. She didn't make a ton of money. So when this woman wanted to start one for social workers, a self-help thing, I said, why not $5? Wouldn't that be a nice... I realize I'm talking to people that don't use dollars as a currency, but I said, wouldn't that's just a nice amount. And she was going to charge for her Hangouts. I never found out exactly what happened with that, though.
You have to always be aware that your competition could be free. So if you charge too much, you price yourself out of the market. And that was why Apple made so much money and saved the music industry, because they chose to keep the price low enough that it wasn't worth it for people to pirate or go to Napster. So you have to realize that your competition is free, so you better come in at a pretty low price.
Okay.
Can I chime in on the numbers? I think if we could build the audience first, if we could build what it is we're offering first, the audience will follow. You know, right now, if I was to take a recording of this Hangout, I would watch it. I would feel like I wasted an hour of my time.
Oh, nobody's gonna watch this. An hour and a half? You gotta be kidding. No, it's, you know.
But I don't agree with that entirely, because some of us would want to fast forward to a point, like I see more like clipping of Hangouts, where people will take a YouTube and then clip the part that they want to show and reshare that. So there may be something at 1 hour and 22 minutes and 15 seconds. And at that point, there's a 3-minute clip that's worth sharing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to see in the Google universe in the future. It's just like you see little clips of movies and they go viral on YouTube, you're going to see little clips of Hangouts. It's not going to be the entire Hangout. Who has an hour to spend? Nobody does. But you might watch it live, like this one is on live, and then you'll find a part and say, oh, I remember where that is, and I'll go grab that. But, money's not involved in this. What's involved is human interest and human passion around topics. And then the going from a free model to a freemium to a premium, really, it's, that's classic business building. That's what the Stanford class is talking about. That's what the model, Rob, I don't have my book with me, but you know the model that we're talking about with the business model.
Yeah, absolutely.
handbook. So that depends on what your product is, who your customer service is, and who are the providers of your piece. So if you're a restaurant, this probably be more on the free side. If you're a trainer that trains people on human resources, for example, then you probably have a paid model.
Interesting.
It really depends on the kind of business you're in. So I didn't mean to shoot down everybody's thoughts on that, but
no, that's
this
fine.
is kind of my perspective on it.
That's fine. I appreciate it.
I think what Amit is getting at is that just a plain old hangout is just not that entertaining to watch on YouTube. And I just did a transition with T410 where I stopped public hangouts and went to a hangout on air and announcing on the event tab about it a week ahead of time, and booking guests and making a document of the schedule of the show and sharing that with the other guests so that there's an actual, a pace, an entertaining pace to the hangout. And then you might get a few more viewers.
Okay. Guys, it is now 10:25. We've been at this nearly an hour and a half now. I think I'm going to stop it shortly. I want to give everybody one last chance to weigh in. And then we will look at, obviously we have to do a better job marketing next time, if there is a next time, or if we do some different format. Again, we're going to look at that. I'll be posting a place to get feedback, and I want you to be very blunt, what worked, what didn't, suggestions for the future. But obviously we have to do a better job marketing next time. I hope this worked for people, or at least some people, especially the people that did try to start Hangouts, especially the new ones. People haven't done it before. I hope they met at least some people and got some things going. If not, we'll try to do a better job for them next time. So I want to, before I formally end this, I want to give everybody a last chance to say whatever they want to say. So whoever wants to start, go for it.
I'm going to have a suggestion. I just put some link in the chat area. We have been creating a wireframe teaching small businessmen and so-called entrepreneur how to go from, as you mentioned, from ideas all the way to revenue and to get to reality. Again, we use Google Sites. My apology, I'm not a Google evangelist, but I don't have any other tool except using what I have. That's Google. Anyway, if you go to this particular portal, it is a 2-year research of series of students and us, creating every subject that is relevant to the opening business and going to crowdfunding. And as you see, there's full of YouTube videos, full of research, and actually we are build this thing to be more civilized. My suggestion is, if we want to have an added value to what we do, we have a portal like this. And then we can approach one section at a time and then have some sort of a training, some sort of a knowledge base, some sort of collaboration. Because, again, in this type of portal, you can add quite a bit of crowdsourcing. You can ask people to comment it offline and whatever. Therefore, my suggestion is we use Google Hangout, but we use Google Sites to actually enrich the communication and engagement. I hope you guys can see the link.
David, we need permission to get into that document. I just tried. And
okay, I'm going to make it public. I already did make it public, but what you need
make it public for a couple of minutes.
You need just to put your Gmail address and your user ID, your own Gmail address and your own user ID, and you can get it. Unfortunately, Google just... This document is in public right now, and I'm going to double check again.
Yeah, that's something that I wish Google would fix, is this permissions business when you're trying to share documents in a Hangout.
I agree with you, but tell you the positive side of it is this. We are getting quite a bit of requests for this portal right now, and we are going to charge nominal fee, say $25 or whatever. And then based on being an intranet, not internet, intranet website, we give permission to the end user based on email addresses. Correct. Right now I made it public. Right after the meeting, I'm going to make it private because I got people that they are using it. Anyway, it's very useful portal. It has somewhere about 700 videos on every subject of business you ever imagine.
Sorry to interrupt again. Still not getting in.
Now, do me a favor. Offline, send me your email address, and I will be more than happy to share it. I'm going to refresh the screen here, and does it make it? Just
add me as a user. I've added my Gmail account. AmidYusuf@gmail.com.
Okay.
I have a technical question. When people add the things in the chat window here, will that be saved after I close this Hangout?
No.
That's gone.
Yeah.
So once I close that, we lose all this?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I think that would be nice to be able to save. You're right.
Okay, I send you a new one. Try this, please.
I'm going to copy it to text.
Rob, are you on Windows?
Am I on Windows? Yes, I am.
So try Control A and copy.
Yeah, I'm going to just copy it to a text file.
Yeah,
But
David, I'm
it
still
shouldn't be
getting
saved.
to use a different account,
Okay.
and I'm using it. You can share it with me and just email me
Okay.
later. That's fine.
Give this last one a try. Give this last one a try.
All right.
I like the name Startup Chautauqua, and I like the principle of aggregating startups into one page and one place for everybody to meet up at. So I hope that your page works that way.
Well, thanks so much, Lawrence, because, we definitely made a few mistakes here. I think this was maybe, it wasn't a failure, but it wasn't really a success either. I think maybe it was halfway between failure and success. But again, we're doing this to learn. I think we all learned a little bit of something, and I've got to absorb what those lessons are. Anyone else want to weigh in? Sander, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I can say that we have a few events at the Hangout Alike page.
Oh, good.
So it worked out to actually, but we didn't market enough, the Hangout Alike page, so people could join Hangouts from that page, because then we will centralize every Hangout if we have done that.
Okay. We're going to declare victory.
It works.
It works. Okay.
Yep.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
If you look at just the numbers who were able to participate in Hangouts at this time on a Saturday afternoon in the summer, probably better to start out with one solid Hangout or one or two, as opposed, to spreading it out too much, diluting it too much at this point. Start
And
out
good
small.
point. And the Saturday was probably a mistake. I don't think the 9 a.m. my time was a mistake, because I got Europe in at a relatively reasonable time. Probably less so. I mean, noon on Saturday on the East Coast probably
But the numbers probably only warranted one good Hangout.
Maybe. But we did want to try the multi. Again, nobody's done it before. So I mean, even with one Hangout, things always go wrong. So I mean, trying multiple ones. I hope it worked out a little bit for some of the people.
Rob?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to wait till everybody else says something because I keep talking, but before you hang up, I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
I think you need to have people submit to you a 20-minute pre-prepared, really valuable presentation, and it could be from our stock of inventory, whether a PowerPoint or a video. And incidentally, recording a PowerPoint is a no-brainer if you have a recording software. Screen shares that are under 5 minutes, you can do them on Jing at no charge. But if we submit a presentation to you, then you could build next Saturday's Hangout. And then we could
I'm not going to do one next Saturday. Maybe a month from now.
And we would be able to be having an outline that we can promote. I'm not really disagreeable on too many things, but I am disagreeable on the name just as a marketer. What is a Chautauqua? I know after the explanation I had it, and I apologize, I don't want Lawrence to think I'm trying to be disagreeable, but I would like to see a name that references Stanford. And I know Jack is here in the room. If we could use the word Stanford somewhere, it would pull a lot harder. I'm just my marketing.
Well, yeah, so let me talk about it. So Chuck Easley runs the course, and there are 30,000 people in the course, and we're just one group. in it, and we can reference that we're doing it for the course, but any business entity is not permitted to use any of the branding from Stanford. We're here together because of the course, not because Stanford's promoting us. Does that make sense? Rob, maybe you can...
It does. I'm trying to understand the relationship to the course. Is this a course that's free and sanctioned by Stanford?
Yeah, so it's on I can give you that link real quick. I put that link on a post earlier where I promoted this on me, where I talked about it, and there's a place to register for the next course.
Venture Lab. Venture-lab.org.
Venture-lab, okay. Venturelab.com.
I think it's a .org, isn't it? I think it's...
Let's see.
Oh, I'm not sure.
No, it's .org. Sorry.
It's .org.
Yeah,
okay, Rob, first off, I did send you an email, so you have the Hangout debrief email for you. Item 2, though, has to do with the fact that this process and this system can work. The photographers on G+ got together ages ago and had a Hangout on Air with one of the big names in photography here. They had 10 people in who were just asking him all kinds of questions. He was discussing one methodology that day. It went on for almost 3 hours. They were taking comments and questions from people who were watching the Hangout on Air. This can be done. It will work. It's still in its infancy, and so we have to figure out what's going to make it work. And the reason it worked for the photographers is they've got 25,000 photographers here on G+, who are all pepping each other. I mean, they're all everybody's cheerleader.
They are. They're self-promoting each other like crazy. And if we could start doing that for the small businesses and entrepreneurs, I mean, I think you'd really just hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's very, very insightful, Debbie. I appreciate that comment. That is where we have to go with this.
Like you said, the pictures are doing better than the long format posts these days on G+, and that's a reflection of this global audience. That the less verbal stuff, the more visual it is, the better it's working. And Pinterest's huge success is also a reflection of that.
You're correct, Lawrence, 100%.
I just wanted to weigh in. I have to run, but I produced television for a long time, and in a way, a lot of the elements of that are involved in this. And I think the idea of vetting content and reviewing it before you go on with it, sort of organizing a show a little bit, with the ability of people who are in the group to have input or actually maybe put some of their own video into it is a good idea. But fundamentally, some of it's going to be production values, having a good camera, doing something, having a little set where the host speaks from. And I think edited video clips at the head, is a great idea. Come on, have the host come up, show a 5-minute piece or a 3-minute piece, and then go into the discussion is a great idea. Anyway, I wanted to thank Rob and everybody for being here. I got to dial out from Houston, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you for joining us. Anyone else want to weigh in? I'm going to shut this down in just a minute here.
Thank you, Lance.
Good luck. Good luck, Rob.
Thanks, especially Debbie, for stepping up to the plate. Jack, thank you for your help. Sander, good job on the software. Lawrence, thank you so much. Amid, always welcome. David, I want to talk to you privately sometimes. Who did I miss? Thank you all anyway. You've been great. We're going to kind of step back a little bit, take a deep breath, do an analysis, see what worked and what didn't. I think a few things did work. As I said when I started this, our prime objective was just to get to know each other a little bit better. At least that much I think we accomplished. And we've learned from this, and that was our second objective. So thank you all very much. That officially ends the Chautauqua, and we'll look at what happens next. But I really appreciate your involvement and your help. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.